Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take a stack of sources, articles, research, maybe some notes, and really plunge in.
Yeah, we pull out the key insights, the connections.
Yeah,
Basically, the most important stuff, just for you.
exactly. It's kind of your shortcut to getting up to speed, maybe find some surprising facts, perhaps even have a bit of fun along the way.
Think of us as your guides, really,
Yeah.
helping you understand not just what's in the material, but, why it actually matters.
And today, we're doing a deep dive into something, well, really interesting, I think. It's a unique personal reflection. It gets sparked by a very simple object, actually, but it ends up leading the author to ask some incredibly profound questions about how to live, how to build character.
How to face life's challenges, yeah, and even improve relationships. Big stuff.
Big stuff indeed.
Right.
Our source material for this dive, it comes specifically from the conclusion of a book.
Right, where the author looks back on this one particular experience that kicked off this whole period of, intense personal inquiry.
So our mission today, let's unpack these reflections. Let's look at the questions the author asked, the answers that came back.
And see what sort of nuggets of wisdom we can pull out for navigating our own lives, right?
Exactly. And it all starts, pretty surprisingly, with a little gadget.
A gadget, yeah, a pen, of all things.
Right, an LED-equipped pen the author received. At first just a practical thing, something to write with when the lights are low.
Sure, makes sense.
But then he started thinking about it differently. He began seeing it more metaphorically,
Ah, okay.
like a pen of light,
Yeah.
something you use to write illuminated words in the darkness. That was the phrase.
Wow, okay. That's quite a leap from a simple pen. And that shift in perspective, that metaphor,
Yeah,
it immediately brought up a serious question for him, didn't it?
it did, right away.
Yeah.
What shall I do with my newfound pen of light?
And asking that question, that internal prompt, it immediately made him think of those famous verses from the New Testament, Matthew 7:7 to 8.
Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be open unto you.
Yeah.
But what the author suggests next is, well, it's fascinating. He sort of challenges the usual reading, that it's just about asking God for stuff, for external favors.
Right, he puts forward something deeper.
Much deeper. He wonders maybe it's really about asking the right questions, especially the tough ones you need to ask about yourself.
And he gives this really powerful anecdote about his marriage to illustrate this point. It really hits home.
Yeah, tell us about that.
He talks about times when he and his wife would just get locked in these arguments, going round and round, totally stuck.
We've all been there, probably.
Oh, definitely. So they developed this strategy. They separate, go to different rooms, and each of them would ask themselves this specific question.
Okay.
What had I done to contribute to the situation we were arguing about? Focused entirely on their own part.
Wow. That sounds simple, but man, that takes discipline. It's incredibly difficult in the heat of the moment, right? Totally. And the author really stresses, you have to genuinely want the answer to that question. You have to be ready for it.
And the kicker is, you almost certainly won't like the answer when it comes.
Exactly. Because it's just so much easier, isn't it, to focus on how the other person is wrong.
Oh, yeah. If they're wrong, then they're the ones you need to change. Simple.
Right. But admitting your own fault, that means facing uncomfortable truths about yourself, maybe reconsidering past actions, your present attitude, even future plans.
It means committing to difficult internal work, to actual change. And that kind of self-confrontation is, it's exhausting, painful sometimes.
Which leads right into the core dilemma the author pulls out of this experience. He puts it plainly. Do you want to be right, or do you want to have peace?
That's stark. And he points out you don't get peace just by proving you were right. That's not how it works.
No. If you only focus on winning the argument, what do you end up with?
A defeated partner. Someone who feels beaten down, maybe resentful. And doing that over and over, that can really erode a relationship.
So the real insight here, the way out of the trap, is actually wanting the answer about yourself more than you want to be right.
Ah, okay. So wanting to understand your own contribution to the mess. That's the key.
That's what he suggests is the prerequisite for any real negotiation, for finding a path back to connection. It's deciding, look, having peace, having that genuine relationship, that's more important than winning this battle.
It connects back, doesn't it, to that idea he talks about elsewhere, treat yourself like someone you're responsible for helping.
Yes, you do that hard internal work because you care about your own well-being, your own growth, and the health of the relationship. It's an act of responsibility towards yourself and others.
Right. And he notes, If you genuinely open yourself up like that, if you really desire the answer, even the disgraceful and terrible and shameful bits of your own part, then a memory, an insight about something you did wrong is likely to actually surface. It'll come to you.
And that surfacing, that honest recognition, painful as it might be, that's what opens the door.
Opens the door to what?
To a sincere apology, which then, might just reopen the lines of communication, allow for real resolution.
The author goes even further, actually. He suggests this kind of really sincere self-questioning, this honest look at your own faults. It might actually be a form of true prayer.
True prayer, how so?
Asking, what have I done wrong? And crucially, what can I do now to set things maybe just a little bit more right?
Okay, I see. But he emphasizes it absolutely requires, what was the phrase, an open heart to the terrible truth.
Exactly. And being receptive to that which you do not want to hear. You can't go in looking only for validation.
It's that whole process then, learning about your flaws, not to just wallow in guilt, but specifically so you can rectify them.
That's what he describes as opening a line of communication with the source of all revelatory thought.
Powerful idea. Whether you think of that as, consulting your conscience or having a discussion with God, like he puts it, or tapping into some deeper self-knowledge.
Right. It's about accessing something beyond your usual ego defenses.
So, bringing it back to the pen of light, the author approached this metaphorical tool in exactly that spirit.
Okay.
He posed the question to himself, what shall I do with my newfound pen of light? And then he waited, almost like he was waiting for a reply from a different part of himself.
Like two different elements in conversation, yeah.
It was just a fascinating way to think about it.
It really is. It leads to that classic psychological puzzle, doesn't it? How can a person think up something that genuinely surprises them?
Right. If you're the thinker, shouldn't you already know what's coming? Where do those truly new insights, those unexpected answers, actually come from?
It just highlights the kind of mysterious nature of real introspection, doesn't it? Especially when you're genuinely open and receptive to whatever truth might bubble up.
Even if it's uncomfortable or completely unexpected?
Yeah. So, armed with this metaphorical pen of light, this tool capable of writing, illuminated words in the dark, the author felt he had to use it for something significant.
He decided to up the ante, as he puts it. Yeah. He decided to ask the hardest questions he could think of, believing that a tool like this, a pen of light, well, it ought to be used to answer the really difficult questions.
Okay, so this is where the really meaty insights start to flow. He began asking questions, grouped thematically. First up was time and life goals.
Right. And the ultimate question in that set was huge. What shall I do with my life?
And the answer that came back, incredibly concise, but wow, so powerful.
Aim for paradise and concentrate on today.
Yeah. Which sounds almost like a contradiction at first listen, doesn't it? Aim for this ultimate, maybe unreachable goal, but only focus on right now.
How does he unpack that?
Well, he connects it to stories like Geppetto wishing on a star for Pinocchio to become a real boy, or those passages in the Sermon on the Mount.
About the lilies of the field, not worrying about tomorrow.
Exactly. Seek first the kingdom of God, right? The insight seems to be, first, get your orientation right. Define your highest possible aim, that good, the beautiful, and the true, your personal conception of paradise, your North Star.
Okay, so establish the ultimate direction first.
Then, and only then, you give your full, undivided attention to the day, to the specific task, the interaction, whatever is right there in front of you.
So it's about connecting the two.
Precisely. It's about trying to perfect both the distant future and the immediate present at the same time. Your daily actions, when they're guided by that highest aim, they become the illuminated words you're writing towards paradise.
One careful stroke at a time, yeah.
Right. So you're not paralyzed by how huge the ultimate goal is because you're focused on the present step, but your present actions aren't meaningless because they're pointed towards that ultimate good.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so from using time well and aiming high, the pen of light then turned towards the very complex area of relationships.
Yeah, dealing with people. This next set of questions tackled some really fundamental human connections. One was pretty direct. What shall I do with my wife?
And the answer that came.
Treat her as if she is the Holy Mother of God so that she may give birth to the world-redeeming hero.
Whoa, okay, that's intense. What's the reasoning there?
Well, the author's reasoning seems deeply rooted in the idea that the mother role is, sacred and absolutely vital for society's survival and health.
Okay.
He's pointing to something really foundational. how we view, honor, and support that maternal capacity can have huge downstream consequences. It's not just about the individual woman, it's acknowledging the immense weight and potential in that role.
Got it. He also asked, what shall I do with my daughter?
Right. And the answer there was stand behind her, listen to her, guard her, train her mind, and let her know it's okay if she wants to be a mother.
Okay, so that expands on the previous point a bit.
Yeah, I think so. It's about encouraging her courage, her intellect, supporting her going out into the world, but also valuing her femininity and the possibility, the importance of choosing family and motherhood if she wants that.
It's pushing back against the idea that motherhood is somehow, like, second best.
Exactly. Pushing back against devaluing it compared to a career path. He sees societies that stop cherishing that image, that archetype of the Holy Mother and infant, as basically undermining their own future.
Heavy stuff. Then there's the question about where we come from. What shall I do with my parents?
And the answer: act such that your actions justify the suffering they endured.
Oof. Justify their suffering. What does that mean in practice?
It speaks to this profound debt, maybe, that we owe our ancestors and parents. People literally suffered, sacrificed, some died to create the world and the opportunities we have now.
Right.
So the insight is, our gratitude shouldn't just be passive feeling, it should be active. Expressed through how we live, striving to live meaningful, responsible lives that kind of honor the progress they bought at such a high cost.
Making their sacrifices worthwhile through our own actions.
Okay.
And the last one in this relationship set. What shall I do with my son?
Answer: encourage him to be a true son of God.
Again with the religious language, but maybe not strictly religious in meaning.
Probably not strictly literal, no. It seems to be about valuing and supporting his commitment to the transcendent good, to that highest aim we talked about, aim for paradise.
Above all else.
Above all things, yeah. Maybe even prioritizing that commitment over, say, conventional worldly success or even physical safety. There's a kind of sacrificial element implied there.
Okay, so moving beyond that immediate family circle, the pen of light was then used to think about broader relationships, how we engage with the wider world.
Right. Strangers, people who've stumbled, the world itself.
So, first question in this set, what shall I do with the stranger?
And the answer? Invite him into my house and treat him like a brother so that he may become one.
Wow, that's powerful. It's about extending trust first.
Seems like it. Practicing that ancient idea of sacred hospitality.
Yeah.
Giving the stranger the benefit of the doubt, the chance to show their best side, and maybe, just maybe, become a genuine friend, a brother.
Okay, and then, what shall I do with a fallen soul? Someone who's really struggling.
The answer was, offer a genuine and cautious hand, but do not join it in the mire.
Ah, that echoes another principle he talks about, doesn't it? Making friends with people who want the best for you.
Exactly. It's about extending help, being supportive, but doing it carefully. You don't let their struggles, maybe their vices, pull you down too.
It's not abandoning them.
No, not at all. But it's about keeping your own footing so you can actually be helpful rather than getting sucked into the same problem.
Makes sense. And then maybe the broadest question of all. What shall I do with the world?
Big one. The answer: conduct myself as if being is more valuable than non-being. Act so that you are not made bitter and corrupt by the tragedy of existence.
Okay, that ties back to that core idea. Stand up straight with your shoulders back, facing the chaos.
Yeah. It's choosing faith, choosing courage, even when you know life involves suffering and uncertainty. The insight is, look, existence is tragic in many ways. That's undeniable. But bitterness, corruption, cynicism, those aren't inevitable results. You choose. You choose to affirm the value of life, of being itself, through your actions, despite all the darkness.
That's a profound choice to make every day. Okay, the next set of questions seem to turn towards sharing knowledge and dealing with the divisions we see so much of.
Yeah, how to educate, how to handle a fractured society, really relevant stuff.
So one key question was, how shall I educate my people?
And the answer: share with them those things I regard as truly important.
Simple but deep. It connects right back to telling the truth. Or at least not lying, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's about aiming for genuine wisdom, not just information. Distilling what really matters for, human flourishing, and then sharing that carefully, precisely.
Focusing on the important stuff. And building on that, he asked, what shall I do with a torn nation?
The answer: stitch it back together with careful words of truth. And the author feels this is getting more and more urgent.
You can see why. So the insight here is, what? How do careful words of truth help?
The idea seems to be that when things are polarized, chaotic, drifting apart, the only way back towards common ground, the only way to start mending things,
Yeah.
isn't through more ideology or shouting louder or force. It's by bringing forward the stark, pure facts of our existence.
Just the facts.
The fundamental truths, articulating them carefully, clearly, so maybe others can see them too, think about them, and perhaps find some shared reality to stand on again, away from the noise.
Okay. So after tackling society, the pen of light seemed to guide the author more inward towards spiritual and internal questions.
Yeah, relationship with the divine, with deception, with personal growth.
He asked, "What shall I do for God my Father?"
And the answer, sacrifice everything I hold dear to yet greater perfection.
Sacrifice again.
Yeah.
What's the core idea there?
It seems to be about that constant striving for the highest good, being willing to let go of what's maybe just good enough right now to reach for something greater, something better.
Even if it's hard or painful.
Especially then. It's that principle of, letting the dead wood burn away so new growth can happen. Sacrificing the insufficient present for a more potential-filled future.
Okay. And then a very practical one about dealing with other people. What shall I do with a lying man?
The answer, let him speak so that he may reveal himself.
Interesting. Not confront him directly?
Not necessarily, no. It links back to listening. And that idea of knowing people by their fruits, their actions and words over time. The insight is sometimes you don't need to argue or call someone out immediately.
Why not?
Because if you give them enough rope, as the saying goes, their own untruthfulness, their own inconsistency will eventually become obvious. The rot reveals itself.
And only then can you maybe start building something more solid.
Perhaps, once the ground is cleared of the falsehood.
Yeah.
And then maybe one of the most profound questions about personal development, how shall I deal with the enlightened one?
Yeah, this answer is really insightful. He says, replace him with the true seeker of enlightenment. Replace him. What does that mean? There is no enlightened one.
That seems to be the point. The author is suggesting there's no static, finished state called enlightenment. Being, life, it's a continuous process, not a destination you arrive at.
So the truly wise person isn't someone who's made it.
No. It's someone who is perpetually seeking, always learning, always growing. The insight is crucial. Don't compare yourself to some mythical, enlightened figure.
Or even cling too tightly to your own current understanding.
Exactly. Don't cling to whatever insufficient certainty you have right now. It's about embracing the journey, accepting your own imperfection, knowing you need constant transformation by facing the unknown.
So choosing the sometimes painful path of admitting you don't know everything.
So you can learn and grow, yeah. Over the sort of static comfort of pretending you've already got it all figured out.
Wow, okay. The pen of light also helped tackle some really common negative human states, like ingratitude or greed.
Yeah, very relatable struggles.
When he asked, what shall I do when I despise what I have? Feeling dissatisfied, contemptuous even.
The answer was direct. Remember those who have nothing and strive to be grateful.
So perspective, basically.
Yeah, consciously taking stock. Counting your blessings, even the small ones. It connects to those simple acts he recommends elsewhere, like setting your house in order or, petting a cat when you meet one. Finding something positive right in front of you.
And he suggests that sometimes people get stuck not because they lack opportunity,
but because of a kind of arrogance, yeah. A contempt for the tools or the situation they already have. They're waiting for some magic fix instead of just starting with what's there.
He tells that story about the young man, right? Isolated, anxious.
Yeah, took a really basic dishwasher job. But instead of hating it, being contemptuous, he decided to do it well. Just focus on doing that one thing properly.
Accepting his situation with humility.
Which the author calls the true precursor to wisdom. And that simple act, starting right there, doing it properly, that began his transformation. Now he's living on his own, earned money, facing the social world, built competence from the ground up.
It's a powerful contrast to just, waiting for things to change or staying stuck in that bitter, arrogant state.
Absolutely. Like the Tao Te Ching says, roughly, he who knows he has enough is rich. Finding value in the present, in the path itself.
Right. Then the pen asked, what shall I do when greed consumes me?
Answer, remember that it is truly better to give than to receive.
Which reinforces that idea that the world isn't just a place to grab stuff from.
Right. It's a forum for sharing, for exchange. Giving, the author suggests, doesn't actually diminish you. It makes things better, it fosters improvement, and it often comes back to you, multiplying the good.
There was even that question the author found surprising about the environment.
Oh yeah. What shall I do when I ruin my rivers? And the answer was unexpected.
Seek for the living water and let it cleanse the earth. What did he make of that?
He associated it with that principle. Set your own house in perfect order first. The insight seems to be maybe many of our big external problems, like environmental damage, maybe they're not just technical issues.
What else could they be?
Maybe they're also psychological or spiritual. Maybe if we sort ourselves out first, subdue our own inner chaos, our own greed or short-sightedness, maybe we'd naturally become more responsible stewards of the world around us.
Put your own spirit in order and maybe the world follows.
Something like that. Conquer the inner enemy first. It's a psychologist's perspective, perhaps, but a compelling one.
Okay, the seventh set of questions really dives into the deep end, responding to crisis, adversity, the tough stages of life.
Yeah, enemies, aging, loss, the really hard stuff.
What shall I do when my enemy succeeds? That's a tough one.
The answer is tough, too. Aim a little higher and be grateful for the lesson.
Grateful for your enemy succeeding.
It's not easy, but the insight connects to that idea of loving your enemies, maybe not emotionally, but strategically. You learn from why they succeeded. You listen to their critique of you, even if it's harsh, looking for fragments of truth.
Okay.
And then you aim so high that your goal actually encompasses even their success. You aim to create a world where even your enemies could potentially flourish. That's a truly ambitious, world-bettering aim.
Wow. Okay, then what shall I do when I'm tired and impatient? We all feel that.
Answer: gratefully accept an outstretched helping hand.
So admit you need help.
That's part one, yeah. Recognize your limits. Exhaustion is real. It's part of life. But part two is remembering you don't have to do it all alone. Accepting help gracefully, though, that requires humility and gratitude.
True. Okay, aging. What shall I do with the fact of aging?
Answer: replace the potential of my youth with the accomplishments of my maturity.
Potential versus actual achievement.
Exactly. The idea is a life lived fully, lived thoroughly, justifies its own end. The challenge as you age isn't to cling to lost youth, but to ensure you've actually built something worthwhile, wisdom, character, accomplishments to take its place.
Like that Yeats quote he uses. An old man is paltry unless his soul can clap its hands and sing.
Precisely. Unless the accomplishments of his spirit make up for the decline of the body.
And then, maybe the hardest one. What shall I do with my infant's death?
Just devastating. The answer is chillingly strong. Hold my other loved ones and heal their pain.
It acknowledges the horror, but focuses on the living.
Yes. It accepts that death is part of life, even the most unfair kinds. And while despair is understandable, the proposed response, the aim, is to gather strength, focus on shoring up the remaining bonds of love, helping those still present get through it.
He has that challenge, doesn't he? Aim to be the person at your father's funeral everyone leans on.
Yeah. Not wishing away trouble, because trouble will come, but building the character to be the strength when it arrives.
Okay. And the last in this set. What shall I do in the next dire moment? When chaos hits.
Answer: focus my attention on the next right move.
Keep it simple, keep it immediate.
Seems like it. The insight is stark. The flood is always coming. Things do fall apart sometimes. In those moments of pure chaos, the only reliable guide you have is the character you've already built.
By aiming up and by practicing concentrating on the present.
Exactly. If you haven't built that foundation of aiming high and attending to the moment when the crisis hits, you'll likely just be swept away.
Reflecting on these, the author notes that, yeah, a child's death is the worst catastrophe imaginable. But he's seen people facing that actually redouble their efforts to connect with who's left.
Coming together to face the storm. He uses that image of the family as the living room with the fireplace, the shelter against the harsh realities outside.
And he shares that really practical, almost chilling calculation, too, about visits with aging parents.
Oh, yeah. Realizing you might only have, 20 more visits left? Something like that?
The insight being, just knowing that number, that finite reality, it stops you from taking those precious opportunities for granted, right? Makes each one count.
Definitely sharpens the focus.
Okay, so the final set of questions seems to circle right back to the most fundamental task. How do you actually build the kind of character that can live these answers, that can face these hard truths?
Yeah, internal strength, integrity.
He asks, what shall I say to a faithless brother, someone lost in cynicism or despair?
And the answer is quite cryptic. The king of the damned is a poor judge of being.
Okay. Unpack that one. The king of the damned.
It seems to represent that ultimate cynical, despairing, world-cursing perspective. The author's core belief comes through here. The best way to fix the world is to fix yourself.
Rule 6, yeah. Set your house in order.
Right. Your own faults, your own inaction, they literally make the world worse and prevent you from doing good. Sure, there are plenty of reasons for despair out there. But choosing that path, aligning yourself with that king of the damned view, is ultimately a failure. It weakens you, makes you useless to yourself, useless to others.
He talks about suffering combined with knowing you caused it or contributed to it, that being hell.
Exactly. And from that state, it's easy to judge all of reality, all of being, as fundamentally flawed or worthless. But the author argues that's a distorted view. The king of the damned is a poor judge of reality. Your own internal state massively colors how you see everything.
So the goal is to build yourself into someone reliable, someone who won't ally with that destructive, cynical view.
Precisely. Someone who can stand up despite the suffering. And the final few questions and answers offer very direct guidance on how to do that.
Okay, let's hear them.
What shall I do to strengthen my spirit? Answer. Do not tell lies or do what you despise.
Straightforward. Honesty and integrity.
What shall I do to ennoble my body? Answer. Use it only in the service of my soul.
Aligning physical action with your highest values.
What shall I do with the most difficult of questions? Answer. Consider them the gateway to the path of life.
Lean into the difficulty, don't avoid it.
What shall I do with the poor man's plight? Answer. Strive through right example to lift his broken heart.
Lead by example, offer hope through your own actions.
And the last one. What shall I do when the great crowd beckons, when conformity calls?
Answer. Stand tall and utter my broken truths.
Wow. Even if your truths feel incomplete or imperfect, speak them with courage. Stand apart if necessary.
Okay. The author wraps this section up by noting he hasn't actually used that LED pen to write anything since that intense period of questioning.
But the process itself, the asking and receiving of these answers, that helped him finish the book we're drawing from.
Right. So looking back at this whole deep dive then, we started with this simple pen of light.
Yeah, just a gadget.
And it led us on this journey through some incredibly deep questions about navigating life, relationships, building that inner strength you need to face reality.
Absolutely. And the insights that kept coming up. I mean, the sheer power of sincerely asking those hard questions about yourself, especially about your own faults.
That seems key. It's the necessary first step, isn't it? Towards truth, towards peace, towards actual growth.
Definitely. And we saw that theme of orienting yourself towards something high, something transcendent, aim for paradise, but while staying totally grounded in the present moment, concentrate on today.
That balance seems crucial. And the importance of relationships really came through family, strangers, how you treat people.
And how you deal with negativity. Not by giving in to despair, but by seeking truth, taking responsibility, trying to make things right, starting with yourself.
And it all comes back to building character, doesn't it? Through honesty, through self-mastery, through that willingness to face difficulty. That's what allows you to, as that last answer said, stand tall and utter your truths.
Even when the crowd wants something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. The author finishes by just expressing his hope, really, that his writing was useful.
Hope that it might have sparked something in the reader, revealed things they didn't know they knew.
Provided some strength, maybe brighten their own inner spark, encourage them to straighten up, sort out their families, bring peace, strengthen others, all those themes.
And he leaves us with that final line from the conclusion. I wish you all the best and hope that you can wish the best for others.
It's a simple, powerful closing. And that brings us, I suppose, to our final thought for you, the listener, echoing the author's own starting point.
What will you write with your pen of light?